The most important decision you're going to have to make in Gotham Knights is choosing the right character. Now, I know some of you guys might already have a character in your mind, and that is who you plan on maining. Today, I'm going to tell you guys why you might need to change your decision, not because the character you're picking is the wrong one, but because the character that you're picking might make your leveling up a lot harder. And remember, the advantage we have in Gotham Knights is once we level up one character, we're then able to switch to another particular character. So today I want to go ahead and talk about 3 things that we probably haven't heard before. Number 1, who is the best character to pick in order to level up fast in the game and get enough points to switch over to your main character? Number 2, I want to talk about what would be the best character to use cooperatively, because recently we got information about the brand new 4-player co-op that we are really excited about. And number 3, I want to talk to you guys about what is the best character depending on your playstyle. So if all of this sounds interesting, a like would be greatly appreciated. Let's go ahead and talk about what are the best characters to pick and which is the one you should probably avoid first in order to level up fast. Now, before we dive into the characters, I want you guys to understand something extremely important in the game. If you noticed in the gameplay that we've seen in other footages, you're going to notice that there are 2 particular bars that are located in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. These bars are extremely important to understand because that's going to help us determine what is the best character to pick to level up, and overall, what is the best character to use in general. Now, what does this actually do? As you guys may know, there is a thing called momentum abilities in the game. Each character has this, and basically what these are supers that you're able to use with each character. So some characters have, throwing rockets, as you've seen Redhood with the big sphere, Batgirl with a big dash of batarangs. But how do you exactly get an option to use this? And of course, you want to be able to use this ability as often as you can. Well, in order for this, guys, you're going to have to create momentum. The way you create momentum is by dodging and by striking the opponents. The more dodges, the more strikes you do, the faster you're able to build momentum. And that's why it's extremely important to understand how important it is to create momentum, because of course this game, the more super ability you use, the easier it's going to become for you to play in the game and the more exciting the game is going to be for you guys. So now that we understand the concept and what we're trying to do this, let's go ahead and talk about each individual character, and then we're going to come to the conclusion which character is actually best to create momentum and might be the best one to actually be used to level up and then switch to another additional character, because that's one really cool aspect of the game. It doesn't matter what character you play as, you're able to switch to any other character at any time and your points will be transferred. So that being said, let's take a look at the first one, which is going to be Nightwing. Now, Nightwing has 2 particular skill trees. He has the Rapture skill tree, the Acrobatic skill tree, and the Pack of the Leader skill tree. In addition to that, he also has the Knighthood option, which is unlocked by completing Knighthood challenges. Now, with that being said, guys, what is particular playstyle when it comes to playing Nightwing? Well, Nightwing is extremely acrobatic, like his description says. And the biggest thing about Nightwing that a lot of people don't really talk about is that he's able to have a ton amount of crit chance. Now, he is extremely powerful with this crit chance because the majority of his Raptor tree is pretty much focused on him being able to have crit damage. So just along on the Raptor skill tree, he's able to increment his critical damage and his damage to 55% more damage just by going ahead and unlocking the majority of the Raptor tree. Now, the Acrobatic tree is where things get really interesting, because the Acrobatic tree, guys, it's going to give us the ability of being able to create momentum without having to do anything else but just evade. And this is extremely important because for all the other characters, guys, you're not able to create momentum unless you do perfect evade moves. Him, you're able to go ahead and get momentum not only by just evading, but you're able to get an extra momentum bar, which is going to allow you guys to spam your super ability over and over and over again. And that is going to be super, super advantageous to you because you're going to be able to use your super ability not only once, but actually twice. Now, the momentum ability is so crucial for him because not only is he able to regenerate the momentum bar with his acrobatic skill tree, he's also able to get health back, which makes it really important. And that's just 2 trees alone. Now, we talk about the Pack of the Leader tree, which is the main one here. He's going to be able to increase his defense, but one of the most interesting aspects of it is the ability of being able to restore his momentum just over time, so without having to do anything. So very effective character, especially guys if you want to use your abilities as often as you can, But the main ability is being able to use your super as often. So if you guys like close quarter combat, if you like a character that has a lot of high crit chance, and you like a character that's going to be able to spam a super over and over again, then Nightwing is definitely the one you want to consider. Next up, guys, we have Redhood. Now, Redhood is a very interesting character because, once again, his skill tree is one of the most, I would say, diverse of skill trees that we have. We have the Marksman, we have the Brawler, and we have the Vengeance. So the Marksman is going to be pretty much focusing on crit damage that you're able to do from a distance with your handguns. And the crit damage increment is not as much as I thought it would be. You're looking like about a 35 increment when it comes to crit damage with your handgun, and I wish it would have been a little bit higher due to the fact that you're kind of required to fight from a distance to get most of the benefit when it comes to using Redhood. In addition to that, we take a look at his brawler tree. This is where I think he kind of stands out because I think this is kind of the main focal point of the way you're supposed to play Redhood, which is a little bit contradicting with his marksman skill tree, because his marksman skill tree has him fighting from afar, but his brawler skill tree has him fighting from up close, because there are so many advantages when it comes to the brawler tree. He is the only character that's able to actually grab someone at 50% health, and that is extremely important because in addition of him being able to grab someone at 50% health, he's actually able to grab them and not be interrupted when he actually grabs that individual, which makes it a very interesting combination, because being able to grab not only small enemies, but being the only character that's able to grab large enemies too, makes him an extremely powerful character. He's definitely the tank of all the classes, but I think there's a bit of controversy when it comes to his marksman skill tree and his baller skill tree. In addition to that, guys, he has the Vengeance skill tree, and the Vengeance skill tree is primarily focusing on being able to have vengeance on each individual faction. So his skill tree is divided on buffs he's able to get for fighting specific factions. So if you really don't invest in getting that 20% damage or buff for that specific faction and you're fighting a different faction, then you're really not getting the benefit of that specific skill tree. And that's where I have a little bit of confusion and misarray here when it comes to the way his skill tree was made, is because there is a bit of kind of controversy. You know, you want him to be a distance fighter, but you also are benefiting him so much when he becomes a brawler that, theoretically speaking, the only logical and the only beneficial way of actually playing him is as a main tank, as a main brawler. So it's a bit controversial to me when it comes to Redhood. Now, of course, to get the maximum potential of using Redhood, it's when you unlock the Knighthood and getting the mystical rounds. The mystical rounds make him so powerful because if you combine the mystical rounds with the brawler skill tree, that is when he automatically shines. So if you're looking for a tank class, if you're looking for someone that's able to get in there, do a lot of damage, be able to grab enemies and absorb that damage and still ditch even more damage, and once you unlock the mystical rounds, become extremely powerful without consuming a lot of momentum, then definitely Redhood is your character you got to go with. Next character we're taking a look at, guys, is of course Robin. Now, Robin has 3 set of skill trees which are pretty interesting: Slugger, Shadow, and Tinkering. Now, he also has the Knighthood abilities, which we'll talk a little bit later, but if you guys are wanting to be as stealthy as you could possibly be in this game and want to take advantage of elemental damage, then Robin's definitely your number 1 character. I really don't have to go too much into detail because all his skill tree is focused on these 2 main elements. So the Slugger skill tree, guys, its main focal point is increasing the damage that you're able to do with attacks. But the main thing you want to take from the Slugger skill tree is his decoy ability. Now, his decoy ability is so important in this game because it does 2 major things. And not only does it take the attention from you, but it deals elemental damage, which ties in perfectly to the synergy of this skill tree. Now, out of all the characters, I think Robin is definitely the one that synergizes best with the skill tree because applying elemental damage increases his crit chance and increases the ability of doing more damage. So a Slugger skill tree not only a boost that, but it boosts the ability of doing more damage and hits, but boosts the ability of you being able to do elemental damage by picking up this decoy ability. Now, his Shadow ability is definitely where he shines when it comes to being stealthy. This gives you the ability of being able to sneak up on the enemies without being undetected, whether you're running or crouching. Of course, it's going to allow you to run faster when you're crouching. In addition to that, it lets you perform aerial attacks without being detected. So you could definitely go ahead, get someone from the bottom, bring them up to the top, and hang them. Now, another thing that you're able to pick, guys, from this is being able to regenerate health by doing successful takedowns. Now, this is extremely important because you're going to be able to regenerate your health just by doing simple takedowns in case your health is really low. Now, where things really shine is once we get into the tinkering skill tree, because this is going to allow you guys to boost your elemental damage buff by increasing the crit damage that you do when elemental damage is applied. Now, in addition to that, you're able to pick a thing called precision aim, which is going to allow you to get a slingshot and have this slingshot apply projectiles. Now, this projectiles not only work as being able to hit the target on point, but you're able to use these as mines. So when an enemy walks towards that specific projectile you place down, or that mine, this mine will explode and apply once again, guys, with those pellets, elemental damage. And that is when things get really, really good, because the more elemental damage you're able to apply, the more damage you're going to be able to output, not only with your crit chance, but also with the pellets, but also with your decoy. This ties in perfectly with your momentum abilities, because now when you go to your momentum abilities and you do an evade, you could actually display a decoy, which fits in perfectly with his playstyle. Now, where it really shines, guys, of course, is when we unlock the Knighthood ability, because once we unlock the Knighthood ability, this unlocks one of the teleport features. As you guys know, each character has a teleport feature, which I really didn't address too much on other characters because they're pretty self-explanatory. But on him, I do want to talk, because his ability of being able to teleport allows you guys to teleport to a specific enemy and do damage to that enemy using his ability. So it's a really interesting ability that allows you to move around the world, but it also lets you attack enemies as well. In addition to that, guys, you gain so much potential within the Knighthood ability that unlocking that Knighthood ability kind of changes the whole complexity on how good Robin is actually within the game. So if you guys enjoy stealth, if you guys enjoy having elemental damage and having a ton of synergy of the elemental and the stealth working together to be able to do more damage to the enemy, then Robin is definitely a character you got to pick. The next one we're going to be talking about is Batgirl. So you know the term girl fight? Girl fight? Well, this is basically what Batgirl is. She's going to be your main character if you guys just want to be an all-out brawler. Now, this is kind of the idea that I had that we were going to have with Redwing, but we don't have that kind of synergy with his skill tree. Now, with her, guys, she synergizes so perfectly well because her skill tree is divided into 3 options. We have Justice, Grit, and Oracle. Now, the Justice skill tree, this is where you're going to be picking up the majority of crit damage and allowing you to do a ton of damage, not only by increasing her crit damage, but also increasing her crit chance up to a total of 40 to almost 50% if done right. Now, in addition to that, this is going to give you an increment to a ability that she has known as Beatdown, which is basically coming out of her momentum abilities. We'll talk a little bit further in the video. Now, if we go to the grit portion of her skill tree, this is where she's able to generate a couple of her health and unlock one of the coolest abilities out of all the characters that no one else has, is being able to come back to life. So if you die, she'll be able to come back to life. And if you unlock it further, she'll be able to do this twice, coming back with 50% of health. So you're able to get 2 additional lives. So just kind of theoretically infusing her with Catwoman in a little bit, because you know how Cat has 7 lives. And she has 2 additional lives, and you know, hence her being Batgirl. Now, where things get even more interesting is once we get to the Oracle skill tree, because the Oracle skill tree is going to give us the ability of unlocking her hack abilities, allowing us to do a lot of really cool stuff. But the main thing of the Oracle skill tree is not so much the hack abilities, it's mostly being able to have our health pack giving us more additional damage and increasing our health as well. Because with our health pack, not only do we get our health back, but we're going to be able to grant a 50% defense, but also give us the ability of grant extra damage that we're able to do within our abilities and our crit chance. Now, where things get really crazy is when we go to the Knighthood ability, because this is where we're able to unlock our drone. Once our drone is unlocked, that's when things get even crazier, because this drone is not only going to be able to allow us to do more damage, but it's also going to be able, guys, to make sure we get more crits, and more crits are going to give us a better array when it comes to fighting other enemies. Now, of course, where she actually performs really well is when she's able to do these momentum abilities, because these momentum abilities are extremely, extremely powerful. Not only the beatdown, guys, but the Batarang barrage is amazing. And the melee heavy attack that deal massive elemental damage, those are really, really good. but I think where she shines the most is being able to do a lot of strikes, a lot of hits, and within these hits, being able to use her drone to generate even more crit damage and allowing her to do a ton of damage while receiving damage because she has the ability of being able to take a lot of damage in without being affected. Overall, guys, if you love close quarter combat and want to be in the people's faces over and over and over and want to do a ton of damage at the same time, Batgirl is definitely the one you want to go with because you know you have 2 additional lives in your back pocket without being afraid of dying because you're able to resurrect yourself back from the dead. All right, so now that we covered each character, let's talk about what I think are the best characters that are going to be very beneficial, who you should avoid, and why. So the character I feel that's going to be the best character overall in general is going to be Nightwing. The reason why is because he's able to regenerate momentum so frequently, allowing you to use your super ability. And this is going to allow you guys to level up really fast in the game. And then you can switch over to another character that's going to be a little bit more difficult to level up due to the fact of him not being able to regenerate momentum very well. The character I would suggest you avoid is going to be Redhood because unfortunately, guys, Redhood is not that great when it comes to his abilities being able to unlock early. He is really good at later game once you have all those abilities unlocked. My suggestion is to use Nightwing, get all your ability points at least to level 15, then switch over to Red Hood, and that way you guys will be able to get not only advantage of the momentum abilities, but also get the advantage of being able to have him fully leveled up, where you're going to be able to take advantage of not only his range, but also his combat. Overall, in general, all of the characters are really good once you get the right synergy, once you get the right playstyle. Of course, I will have builds for each individual character, and we'll have a S tier rank as well for each character as well here on the channel. We're going to have you guys completely covered with Gotham Knights on how to level up, all that good stuff. So if you guys are picking up Gotham Knights, let me know what character you're going to be playing as. In addition to that, guys, you probably want to check out this video right now that's popping on the screen. It's 10 things I wish I knew before playing that are going to help you on your playtime. If you guys are enjoying our content here on the channel, guys, a like would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on all your notifications. If you want to go the extra mile, do consider becoming part of the Bolt Nation, especially with the new mode that's coming on in Gotham Knights. We will be helping you guys live on stream. So if you guys want to go ahead, need some help, or need people to play with, either hop on our Discord or hit that join button and become part of the Bolt Nation and be one of the first to join us when we go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video.